would think, ABC, having just paid $15 million for a defamation lawsuit, would think not to engage in conspiracy theories about assassination attempts, but I guess that's too much to ask from The View. I mean, I got to ask you, because they said it, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs?
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that.
What happens when Karoline Leavitt rolls out of bed, flips the drama switch, and sues The View like it's her morning cardio? Apparently, total financial devastation. For the daytime divas, of course. That's right. Karoline's back in the courtroom with a lawsuit so gigantic, it might as well have its own skyline. Could this be the glitter-drenched nail in The View's designer coffin? Is Joy Behar about to launch an Etsy shop knitting sarcastic pillows?
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Just to cover the fallout? Don't even dare to blink. This TV meltdown is messier than a Prosecco-soaked meltdown at a Real Housewives reunion. Leavitt's not just strategic. She's 27, savage in stilettos, and undeniably glam. So naturally, the so-called kind and woke voices.
And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show.
At The View, responded to her rise like this. Karoline Leavitt just pulled the unthinkable. Again. She marched straight into the rhinestone-covered circus of daytime television, stared down the nation's fiercest squad of serial interrupters, and sued the glitter right off their studio walls.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
Yes, again. Because apparently, one courtroom showdown wasn't enough to make The View's producers stop treating controversy like it's their personal brand of champagne. Turns out, Karoline isn't just breaking out in hives over the liberal media circus. She's practically turned dragging it to court into a full-blown career, armed with the kind of tenacity most people reserve for pulling their dog out of a swamp. And with this latest legal firebomb,
I mean, you'll deal with these kind of crazy questions from the White House podium. How do you plan to deal with it?
Yes, I absolutely will. I feel prepared to do that. I've been facing the media now, speaking on behalf of President Trump on the campaign trail for the past couple of years, and we are expecting the media to be hostile. However, Kaylee, if you do talk to a lot of these reporters off the record, they will tell you they look forward to more press transparency and access. And while we will expose the fake news when they are fake, we will hold them accountable for their lies and smears of President Trump. I can also assure the American people that they are going to be hearing directly from the leader of the free world.
She may have finally cracked it. The View isn't just shaken, it's wobbling like a cocktail table at a Real Housewives meltdown. So what lit the fuse on Karoline's latest courtroom smackdown? Apparently, she reached her legal boiling point after once again being served as the main course on The View's all-you-can-slander buffet. No need for air quotes. We know the script. 5 co-hosts, 2 mugs of faux empathy, and an endless supply of sugar-coated scorn. But Karoline didn't just rage scroll like the rest of us. She lawyered up. And this time, it's not some petty tap on the wrist. It's a lawsuit so massive, NASA might catch a glimpse of it from space. Now, Here's where the real drama starts simmering. This isn't just some tantrum over hurt feelings. We're talking straight-up defamation, full-blown character assassination, and what Karoline's legal squad is calling a designer-label smear campaign dressed up as casual coffee chat. It's like lighting a match in a scented candle store and blaming the blast on the lavender. According to those close to the case,
many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business, and as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher.
Leavitt's lawsuit boils down to a brutally clear message. If you keep turning her into a political piñata on national TV, don't be shocked when the piñata swings back, hard. Sure, the hosts might claim they're tossing out witty jabs and girl talk sass, but her lawyers? They see a high-def takedown, wrapped in contour tips and brand deals. And here's the twist. Karoline's not just venting into the void. She's armed to the teeth, with time-stamped receipts and a legal team who's cross-referenced every insult like it's an FBI file. And she's not just gunning for the panel. She's aiming at the whole operation. If The View were a mansion, her lawsuit would slap the rug, the chandelier, and the poor intern who forgot to warm the croissants. And honey, this isn't a test. Run. Behind the scenes, ABC's finance team is sweating bullets, haunted by PTSD from the last courtroom meltdown. Legal costs are sky-high, insurance premiums launched into orbit, and now producers are whispering settlement like it's Voldemort himself. Backstage, it's a whole different drama unfolding. Staffers are reportedly tiptoeing through the studio like they're dodging subpoenas instead of camera cables. Morale?
First of all, the Democrat Party has gone woke, and now they have gone broke. They have their lowest approval ratings ever, and they are rallying around two of the most far-left leaders in their party, AOC and Jasmine Crockett. So that tells you the current state of the Democrat Party.
Imagine a glitter bomb exploding right in the middle of a tax audit. Joy may still be tossing out zingers on air, but behind the scenes, budget cuts are slamming down harder than her punchlines. Promo shoots are vanishing like magic tricks. Guesty spots? Slowly disappearing without a trace. Even the snack table. Word is it's gone from champagne and caviar to bring your own granola bar. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt is thriving. She's flipped this courtroom chaos into a political theater so sharp and gripping, it makes Shakespeare look like a last-call improv act in a dive bar. In conservative circles, she's become the heroine who took down the cackling queen of daytime, armed with nothing but court papers and icy composure. No yelling, just ruthlessly precise legal strikes. But don't mistake this for a publicity stunt. This is a full-on financial siege. Her team isn't just chasing damages. They're building a mountain of evidence alleging a long, cold campaign of character assassination disguised as light-hearted banter. If the case holds water, the payout wouldn't just hurt. It could gut the show's entire money game. And while the network tries to put on a fearless front, insiders whisper,
"You do know that you're walking into hostile territory, right?"
Certainly do. And look, I think I'm well prepared for that. And I'm incredibly honored that President Trump has instilled confidence in me to speak on his behalf behind the White House podium. It's been an honor to have a front row seat to the greatest political comeback in history. And as you mentioned in your monologue, Sean, President Trump is putting together a brilliant cabinet of fantastic America First fighters, from Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who are going to cut the waste out of our federal bureaucracy, to Susie Wiles, who is going to serve as the first female chief of staff in history. Take that, Mark Cuban, to Tom Homan. No one better to secure the border than him.
It's all smoke and mirrors. Legal squads are on high alert. PR teams are in full meltdown mode. And advertisers? Let's just say some are already eyeing the exits, clutching their marketing dollars like a life raft. Apparently, some brands were less than thrilled to realize they'd been funding what might soon headline a courtroom showdown for the ages. And here's where it gets downright juicy. While The View scrambles to patch the leaks and spin the narrative, Karoline's social feeds are exploding. Every fresh court filing? Pure content gold. More clicks, more likes, more donations. She's morphed from just a headline to a full-blown media juggernaut, powered by legal fireworks and iced coffee-fueled focus. Conservative commentators are already crowning her the future queen of media warfare, not by screaming into mics, but by dragging the cameras into court. While other pundits rage on podcasts, Karoline's dropping court docs like viral diss tracks. This isn't just conservative talk, it's courtroom conservatism. Less hot takes, more cease and desist orders.
I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. You're asking me for what the president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe.
To hire a spokesperson just so that Elon Musk doesn't put out tweets that then confuse federal workers.
Are my press briefings not good enough for you, Jackie?
Let's just say they're nowhere near breaking records. With this lawsuit looming and the backstage vibe barely holding itself together, viewers are reportedly tuning out. The show feels less like a cultural cornerstone and more like a PR nightmare. Sponsorship dollars, once flowing freely, are drying up faster than a drama queen's tears. Because honestly, no brand wants their logo linked to a potential defamation disaster. Not exactly the kind of buzz that sells mascara or yoga mats. One insider even joked that the next sponsor might have to be a law firm. Meanwhile, Karoline isn't hitting the brakes. Word is her team is digging deep into old footage, lining up what could turn into a full-blown avalanche of lawsuits. If The View thinks this is a one-hit wonder, they better start binge-watching their own reruns, with a lawyer on speed dial. The mission? A full-on reckoning with what Karoline calls the mean girls in makeup empire ruling daytime TV. And if Leavitt wins, the word cancelled might get a whole new meaning. If the court hands over even a sliver of what her team's demanding.
If you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts.
The View could be looking at fewer hosts, vanishing sponsors, and way less freedom to throw shade without someone dialing their lawyer. Karoline Leavitt didn't just drop a lawsuit. She unleashed a full-on political brand. Courtrooms? Now her personal TikTok stage. Depositions? Just epic content drops bathed in harsh overhead lighting and legal swagger. Every court date plays out like a fresh episode in the Karoline cinematic saga, packed with rage-fueled headlines, conspiracy-packed hot takes, and an Instagram story trilogy starring espresso, contempt, and constitutional fireworks. And it's working. Her social stats are juiced up like a 90s muscle magazine cover. Followers soaring faster than rent prices, engagement blasting through the roof, and her donation link? It's racking up more clicks than The View's studio claptrack. Forget old-school commercials. Karoline's not backing down, but the show. At this rate, it's heading straight for syndication limbo. Or worse, a permanent daytime graveyard spot, right next to Montel and late-night infomercials. And oh, the poetry of it. The loudest show on TV, silenced, not by outrage or viewer apathy, but by subpoenas, and one young woman who decided the punchline stops here. Call it karma, call it reckoning, call it Karoline. with a capital L for lawsuit. And with that, the only question left for The View might be, does anyone know a good bankruptcy lawyer? Preferably one with a killer punchline, because Karoline Leavitt just flipped the script. And this time, the joke's on them.